I called out my sister-in-law for blowing up in my face and lying to me about allowing her to bring her baby to my wedding and my Christmas after party. But I blew up my brother's whole marriage because of our screaming match. Basically, I-26F hosted a big Christmas party at my house last weekend, and what was supposed to be a funny evening spent celebrating as a family turned into a bit of a shit show. All because of my sister in Lahana 31F. Now for some context, my wife Jess, 28F, and I got married this past September. We wanted to keep the wedding small and intimate, so the decision was made that the wedding would essentially be child-free with an exception for my half-sister 16F, since she's an older kid. And I had asked her to be one of my bridesmaids. Back when my brother Alex, 30M, and his wife Hannah had RSVP for the wedding, I made sure to call and remind them that sadly their baby couldn't come with them, because it's child-free. I also want to mention here that I had told him about this back when we went to visit my brother and his family in the summer. Anyway, while on the phone they said they hadn't forgotten, and they had already planned for Hannah's mom to babysit. However, when the day of the wedding came, Alex and Hannah showed up with, you guessed it by then, 8-month-old nephew. I'll be honest, and admit that I'm kind of a pushover, and I didn't want to make a scene on my wife and I's special day, so I regrettably let it go. We got about 2 minutes into the ceremony before extremely loud screaming and crying from my nephew began. The worst part was that they tried to ignore it at first for about another 2 minutes before Hannah finally excused herself and him. Unfortunately, she couldn't go into another room because we were on a beach. At first, she just tried to walk further down the beach, but the crying could still be heard loud and clear. So she eventually walked back to their car, and later decided that her and my nephew would go home and not stay for the reception, and only my brother Alex would stay. Fast forward to the Christmas party. Everything was perfect until Alex, Hannah, and nephew show up. After she had reached out a month prior to tell me they wouldn't be coming at all, and would be spending time with her family. I was annoyed and decided to pull them aside when I went to greet them and asked why they didn't tell me they were coming. Because I honestly didn't make enough food to feed 2 more people for dinner. Not to mention I had nothing for their son. Alex gave me a confused look and asked why I thought they weren't coming, and when I told him the reason why, all hell broke loose. Alex obviously questioned Hannah as to why she would do this, and her response was to immediately and loudly accuse me of lying in, of hating my nephew. Obviously this got the attention of the room, and everyone stopped and turned to look at us like something out of the movie. He then asked why she would think I hate their son, especially considering I agreed to change the policy to allow him to come to the wedding, which, as you already know, I did not do. I quickly told Alex that wasn't true, and explained myself and my reasoning behind my choice, that it wasn't personal, and that I, of course, love my nephew. I reminded them that I was super cool about the crying and never said anything, even when I probably should have just started to walk over to us from the kitchen, most likely to try and defuse the situation. Bless her heart. All while Hannah doubled down and tried to make it seem like I was lying, so I lost it and said, well, if I'm a liar who hates your kid, then I guess you should probably get the F out of my house. Jess stopped dead in her tracks, and the silence that came after was eerie. Hannah then started crying and quickly left with my nephew and slammed the